Everybody, time to get to the spot. Get to the spot. Hey, y'all, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is Plan Your Greatness, and I am your gracious host, Carlton Hamilton. All right, now, look. This is paying homage to my days when I graduated from college. For about the first 3, maybe 4 years after I graduated from college, I worked as a bouncer. Started out one night a week, and it got to the point where it was 5 nights a week. It's difficult to, I'm not gloating about it, but I gained a pretty powerful reputation in the city of Phoenix. I'm not a violent person, but that was my job. So I threw a lot of people out of clubs. So again, I'm not proud of it, but this is paying homage to anybody out there that is working as a security guard, but more specifically, working as a security guard and not afraid to put your hands on somebody. Because there's a lot of people that I work with as a security guard, talked a whole bunch of mess. Man, them folks, and did nothing. And the reason why I was working 5 nights a week is because I got a bunch of phone calls of, hey, I hear you do good work as a security guard. You know, I mean, they wouldn't just say, hey man, I hear you out there knocking fools out. They wouldn't say that. They just would say, hey, I hear you do good work as a security guard. Are you interested in working, at this particular place? And so I worked 5 nights a week. I made good extra income. So paying homage to anybody who's working out there as a security guard, stay safe. Because there were a lot of nights I didn't think I was going to make it home because of some of the altercations that I had. But this is just a little shout out to all my people who work security. All right, let's get into it. The weigh in, I'm right up around 249, and that's because I had taken some time off. I'm doing some weights, getting back in the gym with my daughter. So, again, I'm staying right in the range, and now I'm getting back on my regular schedule now that school has started, and we're gonna go to the gym later on tonight. That's why I'm getting this video in this afternoon. All right. So what we're doing, and again, this is Plan Your Greatness. This channel has everything to do with the release of the book, which is going to be sometime this year. Hopefully, I'm going to be doing some self-publishing, so I'm going to need to figure out exactly the website and all the other good stuff. So we're going to get all that stuff, and hopefully we can get this book out by the end of the year. But what I'm doing is I'm releasing a video which breaks down every section of the book, giving you a little bit of notes, insight to what it is. You won't get the full picture of it, but I'm gonna give you a little bit of insight of it because every section of the book was specifically written with a very specific theme in mind. As far as each one of those sections could really just be a book in itself, because that's how much care I took into putting that section together. And right now we are actually on chapter 1. And the title of chapter 1 is the Obituary. And I want you to think about something real quick. I want you to think about a situation in your life or a moment in time to where you can look at that moment and say, because this happened, this is where I'm at today. Or because this did not happen, this is where I'm at today. Now, throughout the book, I talk about several moments in my life that were very powerful. But this one in particular is the one that I chose to focus on for chapter 1. Because I want you to think about, if that moment didn't happen or did happen, that it did or potentially would have changed your life forever. So here's how it goes. I'm in jail, and I'm about to have the first visit with my lawyer. Okay? And that moment changed my life because here's how it operates. Okay, you're in your cell and you get pulled out of your cell. So the whole process of getting down to the legal visit is a journey in itself. You exit your cell, you have to get your wrists handcuffed and your ankles shackled. So you're walking very deliberately, and because of my size, and you may not be able to see it, I fill up the screen, but I'm almost 6'3". Right now, I told you my weight. I weigh somewhere around 245 to 250. At that time when I went into prison, I was weighing roughly about 210. So I was a good size. So every time that I was having to be escorted out of the cell, go somewhere, I was bracketed on both my sides, and then one guard in front of me, one guard behind me, and I was shackled. So this was how I was escorted down into the legal area. And then once I got into the legal visitation area, I was put in a chair, and then my wrists were handcuffed doubly to the table, and my ankle, my feet were shackled doubly to the floor. So I couldn't barely move my feet, barely move my wrists. Then as they were exiting out, my lawyer comes in. And here she comes in. Monique Branscombe Wilhite. That wasn't her name at the time. She's married, but it was Monique Branscombe. Beautiful sister from Elkhart, Indiana. Oh, just beautiful. There is a whole backstory on just how she actually became my lawyer. And I'm not sure if I'll actually even make a video about that. But there's a beautiful story on how things happened and how she became, representing me. But she comes into the room, very businesslike, and she says, "Mr. Hamilton, are you of sound mind?" And I go, "Yes, ma'am." She goes, "Good. Because the information I'm about to give you, you need to be in a good state." And so I'm thinking like, okay, I'm paraphrasing. She said something like that, but she just basically wanted to know that I was in the right frame of mind to hear this information. She said, "Mr. Hamilton, based on the crime, circumstances, and all things that go around with it, you are looking at facing a minimum of 19 years to 67 years in prison." There was a pause. Okay, there was a pause. And so I can feel it right now. She said some other stuff. She gave me some things I needed to do, but I'm walking back to my cell and I'm basically saying, man, my life is over. I collapsed to my knees and I start talking to myself and I go, "Carlton, you have done everything in your power that wasn't the right thing to get you to this position where you are in life. Now, if you have to do that minimum of 19 up to 67 years, you have to do it. You have no choice." Then there was another pause. Then I said, "This is absolutely out of your hands. So God," and I'm not sure if I said God, but I just said, "Hey, if there's a power out there, and if there's another option that you have and something that you want me to do," I said, I'll do it. I said, because everything that I have done up until this point has not worked. And at that moment, I just basically collapsed to the floor and I didn't know what to do. So in about 2 weeks, I got another visit from my attorney. And she stated that, hold on just a second. Okay. She stated that, "Got some good news for you." All right. So here's the good news. I know the prosecuting attorney, so I should be able to sit down with him and discuss some options, for you in this situation. I'm like, great. So in the meantime, I'm doing all the things she asked me to do. I'm getting letters from my family members, friends, anybody who would write a character letter for me. That was part of what she wanted. And she also said, "I need you to prepare something to say to the court," because the judge has to see that you've, in this short period of time, the 90 days or whatever, 3-4 months that I'm going to be in here, that I've made some sort of amends. So then she comes back and goes, next visit, she says, "Hey, I got some better news. I was able to talk to the prosecuting attorney and they've wiped off the 19 to 67 off the table." Now think about that. They've wiped it off the table. So what we're looking at is the minimum of 5, maximum of 12. So my head is recalculating the numbers instead of getting out at 50, a more reasonable number. I'm like, all right, I can work with that. So I'm still doing the work. My mom's doing work behind the scenes. Everybody in my family is putting things together. And I'm trying to write something, but I tell myself I'm really not going to put something together until maybe a day or so before, because I want my mind to really think about this, be authentic. And so we do everything. We get to the court date, and here I come into the courtroom again. I'm shackled by the ankles. I'm handcuffed. I come in there. I'm trying to look as best I can. I shaved instead of looking crazy like Cornel West with that crazy hair and beard. So I come in the room. As I'm coming into the courtroom, I believe my mother was up there giving her presentation, and then my father went up there and gave a little short presentation. I believe I had missed other people, friends, acquaintances, all these other people that were in the courtroom. I caught eye contact with certain people. I heard there were other people that wanted to attend, but my lawyer thought because of some of their shady backgrounds, she said, no, I don't think that'd be a good idea. They'd be here in the court. So I hear everything, and then on the judge's desk, hold on a second. There's a stack of papers. All these papers right here. All those letters. Those are all letters that came from all over the world, because my brothers were scattered all over the place. These letters came from everywhere. So I see that sitting on the judge's bench. And so now she's looking at everything, and then we do you swear to tell the truth and all the other good stuff. We do all that. And she says, before I give a decision on this, Mr. Hamilton, would you like to say something to the court? And so I had written it out last night, and then I read it because I didn't want to read anything. I wanted to just kind of come from me. And I said something like this. I cannot remember exactly what I said, but I said something very close to this. I said, Your Honor, I take full responsibility. I'm trying to be very calm. I said, but I could feel my body shaking. I said, Your Honor, I take full responsibility for what I did. I said, I understand that not only I've caused problems in my life, but as you can see in the courtroom, I affected so many other people's lives, and I'm deeply sorry for that. Plus the people that were involved in the crime, those people I affected. I said, I heard that one of them quit, and I said, I can't take that back, but I said, I'm truly sorry. And from this point forward, I said, I will never be in a position where I'm standing before somebody having put myself in a position where somebody else is in control of the rest of my life. And I stopped. And so then I sat down. My lawyer sat down. I think I kind of looked over my shoulder, and I saw other people in the courtroom sitting there, some people in tears. And the judge said, Mr. Hamilton, I'm forgetting all the legal procedures, but I think they told my attorney to rise, and I rose, and then everyone else kind of rose up. And the judge said, Mr. Hamilton, I am going to accept the minimum of 5 years. And then I kind of felt everybody in the courtroom just, oh my God, it was just kind of this relief. And then she said something that to this day, I know it's unprecedented. She said, I am also going to take another year off of the 5. I'm only going to give you 4. I don't even know if that's ever happened before. But I'm looking around, and I can see everybody going, oh my goodness. And then I kind of looked at my lawyer like, what the hell just happened? So I went from initially looking at 19 to 67 years to then looking at 5 to 12 to now looking at 4. And that 4 comes out to about 3.1 years based on Arizona's truth in sentencing, where you serve 85% of your time. So that's what I was looking at. And then after I got the sentence, I went into this waiting area. And when I went to this waiting area, then it was I had to wait there, get reshackled again, and then I was transported back to my jail. And when I got to my jail, I was just, laying in my bed, just contemplating my life and time and, what I was going to do and how I've just gotten a second chance at life. And all of a sudden I get a call, Hamilton, you got a legal visit. I'm like, legal visit? At that point, I thought that was it. I'm done with my lawyer. She did her job. I'm great. I'm going home to prison. Hey, I got this small amount of time. I'm cool. But then she pulls me out into this legal visit, and we start talking, and she just says, are you happy with everything? I said, absolutely. And then she looked at me and said, do you know what just happened in that courtroom? And I didn't quite get what she meant. But I know now, she was like, there was a presence in that courtroom bigger than you, higher than you. And I could tell she was about to cry at how powerful that whole process was, me going from where I was and then to where I was at that point, at that time. So she got up and left, and that was pretty much the last time that I saw her, until I saw her anyway, a few years later, after I got out and I had kids and I was looking for a house, and I happened to be looking in the same neighborhood that she was. That was pretty cool. But what I wanted to really share with you with that is that set in motion, that moment, because at that point I went back to my cell. Because here's what you're looking at. They gave me 4 years. I ended up serving a little over 3 years. That's 1,241 days. That was 41 months, 177 weeks, 29,784 hours, 1,787,040 40 minutes, okay? 107,222,400 seconds. Now, however you want to chop it and slop it and slice it up, there's a whole bunch of things you can do in that time. You can get a degree. You can have a couple of children. You could travel the world. You could write a book. You could learn a new language. You could learn a new skill. There's so many things that you can do in that span of time, or you could absolutely do nothing. And with the technology today, there's so many things you could do in just, everything that I'm saying, you could do 3 of those, in that span of time. But here's what's interesting. My question to you is, what would you do in that time frame? What would you do? Now, this is what happened with me. I went back to my cell and I began planning my life. I began looking at goals, mapping out everything. I started taking college courses. I took counseling classes, anger management, even things that I didn't think I needed. I just enrolled in the classes anyway, because I was obsessed with filling that time to be very productive. I grabbed everything. If I saw a stray newspaper or something, I grabbed it. I read every article. In the college courses, I taught myself how to read the stock market. So when I was grabbing a newspaper, I was following particular stocks, seeing how they were going. And had I really thought about it, I did very well as far as investing in certain things. And I began writing in this journal. So that when I got out, I enrolled into the local community college. And from that, right here, look at this. This is my acceptance letter that I got to go to ASU. You see the date on there, May 9th, 2000. Congratulations. I am pleased to inform you that you have been admitted to Arizona State University. This was my acceptance letter. I will never throw this away, because you have no idea how proud I was of myself to get this. So I was on my way. And so then I graduated from ASU, and then I began into the whole, corporate world. At the same time, I brought 2 children into the world. Now they're teenagers now. I started in the whole corporate route, and then I got out of that and I started my own business, and that's where I am today. And in the course of moving, I found my journal. And so I started looking at the journal and saw my path. I was like, oh my goodness, look at what you went through. Because when I got out of prison, I hit the ground running. I dropped that journal and I just took off running. I said, I got things to do. I got life to live, and I got some goals to hit. So I was chopping, just checking off the list, hitting the goal, hitting the goal, hitting the goal, hitting the goal. So when I started looking back at that journal, it was very inspiring because I had not taken a moment to just relax and go and look back and go, man, look at where you came from. I wasn't busy looking in the past. I was busy looking forward. So as I was editing that journal, and that journal is going to come out later on as well. There's 3 volumes of it. I mean, because I kept a journal for 3 years. I'll show you the box of paper because I had to write. I didn't type everything. I had to write it by hand. So I kept this journal. That journal inspired me. As I was reading through the journal, it inspired this book, Plan Your Greatness. Because then I learned that when I was successful, that's when I used the 3 questions. What do you want? Why do you want it? And can you see it? So that birthed that. And then the 9 pillars of success, which are in the other videos, it birthed that as well. So from the journal, created this book. So now, here I am now as this inspirational, what you want to call it, motivational speaker, whatever. I'm a teacher, and I'm trying to teach the lessons that I learned that I think can help you be successful. So now, I just told you the story of how I got to where I'm at right now. Now, think about this. Imagine if my life had ended before any of that got started. Because there's one of my favorite movies. It's called The Natural. But you see right here, I got a picture of Ken Griffey Jr. as The Natural. You know, that's my natural. But in the movie, there's a scene where Glenn Close is at the hospital and she's talking to Robert Redford, who's the baseball player. And she says to him, because he's looking at his life and going, man, I could have been the greatest of all time. And she goes, look at what you did. Look at all the kids that you inspired now. And then he was like, man, I could have been better if I hadn't gotten shot and all the other stuff, if you've seen the movie. Then she goes on to tell him, she said, you know what, I believe we live 2 lives. And he goes, how so? She said, we have 2 lives. The life we live with, the life we learn with, and then the life we live with afterwards. The life we learn with, and then the life we live with after that. So that's set with me as far as why I wrote the obituary the way that I did, because the perspective that I wrote the obituary from was if I had just succumbed to all the regret and the pressure and the depression, all the stuff that I went through, that I looked at that I actually received the 67 years in prison. I didn't get 4 because that would have weighed super heavy on me. So I took a moment to see where my life is now. And I said, what if I didn't get that lawyer? What if I didn't have that opportunity? What if I didn't have the love and, the nurturing from the family and the support? Where would I have been? So as you read that as you read the obituary, you will read it from the perspective of a guy dying in prison. No children, no family, just a lot of regret and, depression. So I wrote it from that perspective because every time I look at that, I'm reminded, I say, you know what? You got a second chance. So what are you doing every day? What are you giving back? Okay. So that's my thing. I said the obituary is full of regret, guilt, self-pity, depression, stress. It's all about the second chance that I didn't get. Because by making this video, I am living testimony of somebody that got a second chance. And what you do with that is, like I said before, people go, things happen for a reason. You can only say that if you've taken that opportunity to go, man, I'm learning from this. So now that things that happen, I'm gonna show you by the way that I live my life, that I'm gonna let you see that I understand that things happen for a reason. I got a second chance and I'm living it up right now. All right, so here's my challenge to you so I can end this video. My daughter just sent me a message, saying, "Dad, we need to hurry and get going." As far as pretty soon. Here's my challenge to you: if you died today, what would be your story? What would be your obituary? Okay, think about that for a second. If you died today, if something were to happen to you, you have a great day today, and you go to bed and you don't wake up. What would be your story? What would be your obituary? Okay, so think about that for a second. Because if you don't like the story that you're watching this video and you don't like that story, then you need to get busy living. And you need to get busy starting to change the narrative. You take control. You become the director. You become if you got to do some erase some things, but start that process now. It's not going to happen overnight. And within starting that process, you can go back and look at the videos, and you'll find these particular ones. You can go find the 3 questions. Answer those 3 questions if you're not happy with where you are. Okay? Find out what are the 3 truths in your life. Now, I may not have made that video yet, so if I don't think I have it, I may have it within one of the other videos, but I'm probably going to specifically make a video on what are my 3 truths and how do you figure it out, and how did I come up with the concept of the 3 truths. And the last one is write out your mission and vision statement. And if you don't know what either one of those are, then what I want you to do is go back and look at other videos. Just scroll through there, Plan Your Greatness, mission statement. Boom, you'll find it and get started on that. All right, so like this page, like this channel, subscribe to this channel, share this video, because I'm pretty sure you know somebody that is either just floundering around and doesn't know where they're going, or somebody that has gotten a second chance but really isn't doing anything with it. All right, this was very powerful to me. I'm glad I was able to make this video for you. And again, this is Carlton Hamilton. This is Plan Your Greatness. And I'm going to say this again. Plan your greatness. Why? Because no one else will. All right. I'll see you all next time.